just to signify what happened to Drake on this song.
Okay.
Brought the oven mitts because Kendrick Lamar cooked his ass. Fucking cooked him. I was thinking that this entire time it might be a light singeing, maybe let's play around a little bit. No. He came out and he's like, I'm actually bringing every single fucking piece of the heat I can, and I'm here to cook people. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Soundbites, the part of the Album Mode podcast where we're talking about the music, the culture, and the internet, and how those three things intertwine to create the music culture that we have today. My name is Demar Grant, aka King Grant, aka The Bunny. And I'm here with my esteemed co-host, co-creator, Adriel Smiley, aka AdrielSmiley.com, aka Mr. Smiley. And we are here with also our producer. We're here with our producer, Agent Zero, Patient Zero, Chris. Adriel, we are here to, what is this, round, people are calling this round one, but it really is technically round two if we're counting the actual original songs that came out, like that in First Person Shooter.
Okay.
So I'm going to say this is round two, but people are calling it round one, so we're in a round.
Yes.
Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar has released the diss track, the thing that we've all been waiting for, we've been praying for. You have been criticizing for multiple weeks now that Kendrick Lamar had not released the song. Even though I said that it took Drake 3 weeks to release his own.
It took Kendrick longer than 3 weeks.
It took him like maybe 2 extra days over that 3 weeks. And Kendrick Lamar is here. He has dropped Euphoria. Okay. And I decided I was going to bring a little prop here just to signify what happened to Drake on this song.
Okay.
Brought the oven mitts because Kendrick Lamar cooked his ass. Fucking cooked him. I was thinking that this entire time it might be a light singeing, maybe let's play around a little bit. No. He came out and he's like, I'm actually bringing every single fucking piece of the heat I can, and I'm here to cook people. Anybody around me, they're getting cooked. And I feel like Kendrick Lamar decided I am cooking Drake today on Euphoria.
He definitely cooked, man. I'm happy we finally got it. And I think that him even going the same route with the album art that Drake went, I think there's something there. I like that. I think calling it Euphoria, which is, the show that Drake produced.
Absolutely.
That was interesting. As well, the fact that Euphoria, there's a lot of drug use in that show. So I like what Kendrick is. He's doing a lot of good things on this, and I'm happy that we actually have this response because, to be real, there was a large group of people who were saying Drake had already won.
I agree.
And I thought that was a little premature.
I also agree.
Kendrick is definitely going to respond when. We didn't know, but I think it's premature to have Drake as the winner. Now that we have Kendrick's response, I feel like we now have an actual battle. And I'm excited to see them go back and forth. To me, Kendrick is up right now.
Wow.
And I think that for these two reasons, Kendrick was more direct than Drake. Actually, 3 reasons. Kendrick was more direct than Drake. Of course, he actually dissed Drake more than Drake dissed him. Now, a lot of people are saying, Kendrick only had one person to focus on. That's why. Listen, I don't make the rules. This is just what happened. And third, and
he mentioned Chubbs.
Chubbs is not in the rap beef to begin with. Drake mentioned Whitney. Does that mean come on?
Chubbs got a couple strays. Who else caught strays? There's people that caught strays.
Yachty caught some strays.
Gunna caught a stray as well.
The Gunna stray was kind of crazy.
So people are catching strays. He's not just going after one dude.
Cole caught some strays.
Yeah.
But it is all about Drake.
Yep.
It is all about Drake. But I will say this. Kendrick's approach in this record, I like way more than Drake's approach. And I spent the last 2 weeks saying, how is Kendrick going to take it? What's his approach going to be? And I think that even though there are a few things that I don't agree with, which I'll get to, the approach of making it more personal is I just don't fucking like you. Like that being the tone of this record of I just don't like you. Like you're someone I don't rock with. You stand for something I don't stand for. We can't get along. That being the tone of this record works more for me because I think the tone of Drake's records is more of a kid kind of making fun of everyone in front of the class. And Kendrick's as more direct, like, yo, we gonna meet me and you, I think hits harder. So for that reason, especially, I think Kendrick is up right now.
Yeah, I think Kendrick Lamar, I don't know if he's up. I think that Like That was better than First Person Shooter for sure. And I think that Drake's diss track, their first one, was just like a well-crafted song.
Better song than this.
Yeah, it's a well-crafted song. This one, I would say the song is not as good.
Yes.
When the audio is entering the ears, it is not as pleasurable to listen to.
Are you allowed to say that? Are you Kendrick is perfect, okay? Everything that he makes is amazing. Don't watch your mouth.
I want this to be known for everybody out there. For some people, for all people, it seems, I am everybody's op. To anybody that watches me say anything about music, in real life, on the internet, whatever. Nobody believes I like any artist, but they also believe I love the artist that is like the opposite to whoever their favorite is, right? So I like to believe I'm just everybody's op.
Two things can be true.
Right? I think that this diss by Kendrick Lamar, first of all, I want to say the song overall, the fact they put it in 3 parts was a design choice that I wouldn't fully agree with, just because it led to a 6-minute long song, which is actually a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that back half, the last third, where he's really just coming after like, here, let me get the exact part since we're let's just dive in. Let's just dive in. I think where he is talking about, there's so many good parts. So many good parts. I'll even take a step back. My biggest fear with Kendrick Lamar entering this beef is that the density of his music. Because I would say he is one of the high density artists in hip hop. And any song that he makes, any rap, any verse that he makes has multiple meanings, or it's like, one line you can like Google something and it reveals something to you and stuff like that. He did that on this, but I would say that the internet responded to it well, because they kind of like took everything and dissected it and went down and pulled out all these things. So even though I would say it's denser than anything Drake dropped, people are digging into it. They want to dig into it, and it's actually rewarding people.
I don't think it's denser. I think Pull-Ups had more things where you think it's one thing the first time you listen, and then once you go on the internet, you think it's something else. I think, to me, this is all pretty straightforward. Like, most of these bars here, there are some things where maybe you didn't know about this, but this is very straightforward. And I thought this was an interesting choice from Kendrick to be so straightforward. When Drake has more of the double entendres every other line, and Kendrick is more pretty straightforward in all of this. So I thought that was interesting, because I think that Kendrick can't go over people's heads in this battle. I feel like already, tracks hasn't been out a day yet, and already the response that I'm hearing from people is a lot of people who are being like, I don't want to hear all these voices from Kendrick. Like, pick one and stick with it.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, the density.
And I think as well, in his lyrical content, that he can't do the thing of where, this is not for you to get, it's too deep for you. Like, that's not gonna work here. And I think that Kendrick, what he hasn't done well in the past is to ride that line of, you kind of get the line, but if you look deeper, it's deeper than you think. It's a lot of it is like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but I'm assuming it's deep because you're Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
That cannot fly here. And then one more thing is kind of replay value. The song hasn't been on a day yet, so we don't know the replay value.
I know. Some people are already like, this shit has no replay value.
That's been a thing people are saying already. I think it's too early for that, but my guess is that is going to be true.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that when you hear all the different beat switches, there was an attempt in this of a different kind of Kendrick, because I think the way he's rapping is very, very direct.
Yeah.
Very, very direct. And so there's a part in the third half where, and it's funny because this is
third. This guy the third half.
The third half. The third. There's a part in here that everyone is kind of grabbing, which, again, I think some of these things is the excitement of, we have new Kendrick music.
Yeah.
We've been waiting. He is the boogeyman.
Yeah.
But some of these lines to me aren't that crazy.
Okay.
But they are direct, which is what I like.
Okay.
He says, ain't 20v1, it's 1v20. If I gotta smack niggas, I write with you.
Mm-hmm. That section, that ghost writing section of Drake's career is just haunted him. It's actually, he's been unable to escape it in any way. Go ahead.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
For that to be a thing that we always bring up, but I'll get to that at the end of this. He says, yeah, bring him out too. I clean him out too. Tell Beam he better stay right with you. Am I battling Ghost or AI? Nigga feeling like Joel Hill Osteen. Funny, he was in a film called AI. My sixth sense telling me to off him. That's a line where you think people would have read that deeper and said, oh, he spells that out for us.
Right.
And why I highlight that is because like that's something that Drake wasn't doing on push-ups, which Kendrick is choosing to do here of like, I don't want to give y'all the chance to not get this. Let me tell you straight away, this is the movie. He was in this movie, Sixth Sense. Y'all can get it. And then after that, he says, I'm a blick niggas all in their coffin. Yeah, OVO niggas is dick riders. I think that there is a part of Drake's career that, again, we're taking for granted in a sense that I'm thinking a lot with this battle is, I think after ghostwriting was the real time where Drake crossed over of, we can hate Drake now. If you needed a reason, you got it. And to see that he is somehow still as popular as he is, when it's also cool to hate him, is such a odd thing to me that you don't see often where someone it's cool to hate them, but they still find a way to have so much love. And I think with this verse from Kendrick, what I've seen on the internet in the few hours since this has been out.
We are recording this on Tuesday, the same day that this shit came out.
Is what I'm seeing is I think that hasn't been the case for Kendrick, and people are feeling okay to critique certain lines. And I think that if this had come out last year, for example, everything Kendrick would have said would have been gospel to everybody.
Yeah.
And seeing that the internet has kind of taken that veil off him and said, yo, listen, you're great. We're going to judge you properly. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I think that I would say that he's really done well. I think that one thing that I find really funny that Kendrick Lamar is often criticized for the voices that he does, but in the third, which is, I would say, the best part of this entire thing, is that last third is like really where he's going after Drake, where he says, this portion where he says, what I learned is niggas don't like the West Coast. I'm fine with it. I push a line with it. Pick a nigga off one at a time with it. We can be on 3-hour time difference. Okay, here's the best. This is, to me, personally, my favorite part coming up, where he's like, don't speak on my family, Crody. It can get deep in the family, Crody. Talk about me and my family, Crody. Right? Someone gonna bleed in your family, Crody. I be at New Ho King eating fried rice with a dip sauce and blammy, Cody. Tell me you're cheesing, fam. We can do this right now on camera, Cody. So the fact that he did the thing that everybody, he gets criticized for is doing the voice, but he actually just like, okay, I'm going to F the voice. I'm doing the accent. He decided to spin that thing on Drake that Drake also gets criticized for, is that Drake somehow has every fucking accent. Like, he has a Caribbean accent, he has an LA accent, he also has a Toronto accent. So Kendrick Lamar took that, right, being able to use his voices, but he's like, actually, I'm going to do an accent instead, and using the Toronto accent and Toronto slang to diss somebody from their own city is actually insane. That's actually amazing.
I love the part about New Ho King, because that's one of my favorite spots.
That's a legit place.
No, that's one of... No word of a lie, when we wrapped on the championship, that's where I went to get my after the championship.
Wow.
Man. So Kendrick, you know the spots. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Kendrick isn't wrong with that.
Oh, man. The cheese and fan part, that shit is like, you really have to, like, most people from outside of Toronto don't know. Yeah, don't know cheese, like, to cheese somebody, what that means.
I think this part to me is what I'm, I guess, in limbo when it comes to this record, because I like this record a lot. And like I said, I think Kendrick is up. But I think this is one of those things that it's cool that he did this, but are we going to be re-listening to this next week? Or will this, sonically, will this work? Or is this just cool as rap nerds that the fact that he just put that together, that's cool on its own?
Well, the thing is, like that is still, it still spins. Like that still bangs,
yeah.
But I would say this is something I say about Drake and Kendrick Lamar is like anytime they put out music, everybody's gonna listen to it no matter what, right? So if people are saying that this doesn't have replay value, a lot of it, I agree.
Yeah,
but the diss, somebody only has to say something one time to piss somebody else off. You know, you don't have to hear it multiple times. So I think that no matter what, everybody is going to listen to the song. So all of the disses and everything that comes out of this, it's still gonna be sharp. I mean, you're not gonna hear it every day in the club like when Back to Back came out.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact, Drake listened to this shit.
Oh, of course.
Mad as fuck at home. Right? And everybody else in the rap world, hip hop world, we heard it. So it doesn't matter if we heard it 30 times. We all heard it the one time. We know what's happening.
So you do think that doesn't matter? Because why I bring that up is that talking to people today about this song, someone literally said to me verbatim, I listen to push-ups probably twice a day still. And to think about how this beef is going to grow like in real time, I do think that's a part of it because I think this is going to be a beef that has multiple songs. And so, again, we're still listening to Like That. Even me, I'm still listening
like that.
Like That is in the playlist every single day, any playlist I can get into. And so as this beef goes on, how many of these songs are we going to be listening to from each side, quote unquote? And I think that is going to be part of this battle that maybe we can't see it now because it's so early.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, Like That is the top ranked one with the most plays.
Yeah.
Then Push-Ups, and then probably Taylor Made, and then this. But I think as time goes on, that is going to play a part in this because I think that that's something that Drake introduced with Back to Back that was not even a thing before of
that's very true.
Replay because I listen to Takeover all the time because it's on the album.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to Takeover to listen to it, and the same with Ether. And so I think that usually that wouldn't matter at all in this battle. I want to say because that's not how history has been before.
Yeah.
Pre-Drake.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept that you're bringing. I never really considered that.
Pre-Drake, it wasn't a thing because I think listen to all of this, everything hits.
Yeah.
But I'm already hearing same day of people being like, I'm not going back and listen to this. I heard what he said one time. And I think even that of hearing it one time, everything won't stick the one time you listen. I think we've listened already more than once for doing this pod. But if I listen to this song one time and I've heard Push-Ups 5 times, Kendrick might have had greater bars in here, but will that stick with me in my mind? I've only heard one time.
Right.
And so that's something I'm kind of, again, we got to wait and see how that grows. That's something I'm paying attention to because I do think that, again, Push-Ups is a song people are still playing, which I'm not listening to it as
Me
much.
neither.
but
I do listen to Like That, so I understand.
Like that I do listen to. So I see that is something where you're hearing the songs, like all those Drake disses towards Kendrick and Metro and Future, like you've said yourself, Metro shut up and make some drums. You've repeated that line 10 times.
Yeah, a million times.
So I think that's going to play a part in it because I do think what Kendrick is saying actually hits harder than what Drake said on Push-Ups. But
Me too.
Will it actually have the staying power past this day? Because again, this happened today.
Yeah,
we're in the midst of it, recording on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, will this still have the same staying power? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see. What I'm gonna see what other things something else that Kendrick Lamar mentioned that I think that is something that you will never see, I don't think, in rap beef is where he says, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. I like that he, in the midst of this visceral battle,
that's something nice.
He's like, I like him when he actually sings. I like those songs. And then he's like, you don't teach your child how to pray. Like, I feel like that is one of the funnier things that he did. I don't know if he did that. I think he did that on purpose to make it funny, but it's actually really out of the box to hear somebody in the midst of beef
by name
compliment the person that they're beefing with.
And compliment by name. Like, that's the part too, is like, he says Drake's name a few times in this, which is why I think it's even more direct. But choosing to use a time when you say Drake's name has to be a time complimenting him.
You're like, I like that.
But there's 2 narratives in here from Kendrick that I want to address that I think shows me the lane he's taking, which again, I like this. I think he chose the right way to go. And it's this part you had here of how many more black features so you finally feel you're black enough. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. The narrative of Drake not being tough enough and black enough is a very 10 years ago narrative. I think that Drake not being tough enough is not something that we mentioned basically at all.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a superstar. He has bodyguards. We don't need him to be tough. And so I think that there's a part of hip hop that is older than everyone in this room. That's the narrative they're still rolling with. Of nah, my GOAT is tougher than that GOAT. And so I think it's noticeable that he put that in here. Then him saying Drake is not black enough.
Yeah. How many black features do you need to feel black enough?
There's something that Suge Knight tweeted that I thought kind of encapsulated, because I this is why I mentioned that Kendrick is in a place where we're not just gonna love everything he says anymore. And this was one of them. Suge Knight quote tweeted Kendrick posting the video and said, "Round one goes to Kendrick Lamar. But youngin, let's stop saying light-skinned people aren't black because the police think otherwise. Black is black. That creates a division amongst ourselves, and I ain't fucking with that."
Oh my God. Suge Knight of all people to be the social justice crusader, ethnicity person. Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah, great message, wrong sender. And to the outro where he says, "We don't want to hear you say nigga no more," I don't think that's going to fly. I don't think you're going to bully Drake out of saying nigga.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think there is a contingent of black people that will latch onto that.
That's true.
People are talking about that. I've already seen that on the timeline, right? And people are even, I saw a little bit of a drag. Doja Cat getting the drag online off that line. So I think that for me and you, right, I have a biracial brother, okay?
Yeah.
So this is not something that is gonna be, I'm gonna be like, oh,
how dare you?
Yeah, no, like, but I think for a certain group of people, that for those people, they're like, yes.
Dr. Umar's
they're
internet.
like, yes. Finally somebody said it. But that is, I would say, it's weak for most people, but for that contingent, they're like, yes.
And
yes.
Kendrick's going down the right road because a lot of this is like, I'm a better man than you are. I'm a better father than you. I'm more of a man than you. I'm more black than you. And I think that, like,
you said that he should not go down that route. I remember you saying that.
But I think, bringing in the older group and making it more of, I'm just a better man than you are.
Yeah, I love that part.
I think that is a way to go in this, because it's like taking shots at Drake's femininity, but doing it in not a way that can get you canceled. Even though there are some things on here that
I like cancellation. When he was talking about what he feels like when you're with Sexyy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I thought that was very funny because online, I feel like Kendrick is making a little bit of an online play. Now I'm really like talking it out.
Yeah.
Because like, the Sexyy Red, I feel like, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. You just said that straight up. I believe you don't like women. That's real competition. You might pop ass with them. Right? I think
he has another line too in there about that. Yeah.
I think online, people have been saying like, Drake acts like he's a light-skinned woman, right? Like that's just like a prevailing like joke, right? Or Drake is just a woman, like overall, like the way that he speaks or acts and stuff, like, he has the clips in his hair, the fingernails are painted, blah 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 blah. Right? That is something that most people do not talk about in real life. I feel like that is very much an online narrative. And I think that he's gripping at the online narrative when Kendrick Lamar is not really a type of person to do stuff like that. He's not really dialed on online. But for him to dip into that online narrative showed me a little bit like, oh, this is like serious. Like he's doing like real deep depth research on shit like that.
Well, I don't know if it's about research because he's more online than he's ever been. He has his Finsta, which is public now.
Yeah, that's
true. He is. You see him more on other platforms, if not Instagram. But I think that he's aware that that's part of winning this battle.
Yeah, winning the online war.
And I think that most of this song is winning the over 40 crowd. The crowd that their GOAT is Rakim. That like
shout out to Rakim.
No, one of the greats.
Yeah.
But there's a group that doesn't know who Rakim is.
That's true.
There's a group who Rakim is their GOAT. That's who Kendrick is trying to convince that he's the GOAT. And I think that is more what I mean of like him taking the like, man, I'm blacker than you route of taking it to those people. I think if he's taking that to us and the younger generation, we don't care. But I think if he's telling the old generation, listen, who's the blackest one? Who's more a man?
Yeah.
that's gonna win for them. I think the younger generation a little more progressive. Not gonna
Not that big of a
really
deal.
fly. And the other thing I think that is gonna hurt Kendrick, and I hope Drake can address this properly in his response of the kind of you're light skin, you're not black thing. That ends up being very hypocritical in real life, online. But anyone who's on that side, it gets hypocritical real fast.
Yeah.
And it takes you to mention 2 other black people before that argument is done for.
Yeah.
And I always mention Drake and J. Cole, who were, standing beside each other at the start of this. And somehow we've convinced ourselves J. Cole is 45 shades darker than Drake is. We have never seen J. Cole's dad. We at least know Drake's dad is black.
Yeah, and J. Cole also born in Germany.
What's whiter than Germany?
Born in Germany, exactly.
And
if we're really talking about historical context right now, being born in Germany and being like, oh yeah, I'm totally black. I'm like the black man.
Yeah.
You're born in Germany, my guy.
And so that part of it, I think, is not gonna fly for Kendrick because there's a plenty of mixed race rappers.
Yeah.
But I think that as black people, us moving the goalpost of who's black and who's not based on mixed race, I don't think is right. Period. I think the idea of you're blacker and you're not when you both have the same makeup doesn't fly with me. And so I think that's where Kendrick is gonna really lose some points because I think we kind of saw this when Ross did it. Ross did it less eloquently, I would say.
That's true.
But when Ross did it, it fell very flat. And we got disinterested very, very fast. And I think, forget about the black community, the world as a whole, more people are becoming beige. That's just how the world is going.
That is a fact.
And so think about how many people you're offending when it's like, yeah, my so-and-so is half, my so-and-so is. So I think it's like, that's not a route to go down, I think, for Kendrick. But I do think.
But it plays into his persona, though.
I think it's, let me say that correctly. I think it's the right route for him. I don't think it will work to win this battle because I think he's grabbing a subsection. Maybe this is your barber or people like that who that subsection.
Yeah, facts. Like people's barber, their old head, et cetera, et cetera.
And that is a subsection in general of the population, which is way more than we think. I think we need to realize that's a huge part of the population. But 1, they're not online. And 2, they're not going to change the discourse, which is going to happen online.
Right.
And I think that this is very much an idea of if that discourse in real life is Kendrick is the one who represents us, he's the real one. If online that's not the case, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, so I think that section, but I don't think there is a way for Drake to respond to that in a way that is like a reversal, It's only you can only stonewall that. There's nothing. I have 2 black Jamaican parents, so I'm not. I can't.
That doesn't apply to me.
I haven't been fighting in this war.
Yeah.
Right. And again, my brother is biracial, so I'm kind of just. I'm just here on the sidelines. If anything, I'm defending my brother.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But there is no. I have not heard or seen the reversal move.
There's no reversal. Yeah.
I have not seen that. I don't know what it is. If Drake could come up with it, it would be huge for his community of biracial people.
Yeah.
But I have not seen that move yet. So Kendrick Lamar can kind of just say that, and there's not really a response to it. I would say that there's more things that are happening in this. I think that where he says this is still in the same verse where he's like he says when they were talking about splits, remember when Kendrick Lamar brought up, or Drake brought up the splits, trying to say I want to see the splits. I bet you split your pants, blah, blah, blah. Kendrick Lamar directly responds to that saying, let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits. I make sure I double back with you, right? You was signed to a nigga that's signed to a nigga that's signed to a nigga. Try cease and desist on that record. Oh, what? You ain't like that record? Back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that for the record. So again, another compliment to Drake. But also a little bit of a sprinkle of what is happening in the moment where it seems, this is what Kendrick Lamar alleges, and I'm assuming he's closer than, the only people closer to him are literally his label and Metro Boomin on that situation. is that Drake basically tried to cease and desist Kanye, which I would believe that he's trying not to escalate this beef to Kanye being directly involved, because I said that on the previous podcast, and I've written about this actually for the Global Mail. Dealing with Kanye is like trying to deal with a tornado that is on fire at the same time. Like, you want zero part of that if you can, if you can get away. The way. Yeah, you just don't want to be included in that. So I think that he did that to de-escalate, to literally just like exclude Kanye from being in the beef. But I do like that Kendrick Lamar brought it up because he's like, oh, you're afraid. You're scared. Because I do think Kanye would be backing Kendrick Lamar for a plethora of reasons that I've already outlined.
He already said it.
Right. So I like that he included that. And I like that he kind of like doubled up on his spin on like that, where he was like, where he was trying to say, where he says, this is all in the same verse. Like, this is how crazy this one verse is in the last third, where he's like, why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Y'all try all of my life. Y'all think all my life is rap. That's hoe shit. I got a son to raise, but I can see you don't know nothing about that. Waking them up, you know nothing about that. Tell them to pray, know nothing about that. Give them tools to walk through life day by day, know nothing about that. Teaching them morals, integrity, discipline. Listen, man, you know nothing about that. Speaking the truth and consider what's God's considering. You don't know nothing about that. Then he's like, ain't 20v1, 1v20. I gotta smack niggas who ride with you. This is the second time in rap beef where Drake's opponent comes for Drake's ability to be a father. Like, I feel like that is something that is crazy that you can get. That could get me. This is now the second time somebody's getting it off though. Like, I feel like Drake, his relationship with his son Adonis is something that is going to be hyper scrutinized for pretty much Adonis's entire life. Yes, just like Paris Jackson. Just the fact I could say Paris Jackson.
Yeah. It's like, yep.
Right. Adonis also has a very unique name.
Yeah.
That's going to be scrutinized forever. But the fact that it's getting like, he's like 5 years old and this shit is still happening where Kendrick Lamar is like, bro, you don't even know how to be a father, right? You don't even know how to do, that fatherhood shit, you have no idea what you're talking about. I at least know how to be a dad.
I think that's such an interesting lane to take. I like and this is why I said it's very personal, because this is something that Drake is going to take harder than any of us. Like,
facts.
Like if you're in a beef with someone and someone's like, you don't even know your dad, like, you're going to be like, damn. Like,
yeah, that's insane.
So I think this is Kendrick's version of that, where these bars are for Drake. This is for when Drake hears this, he has a reaction. You know, the rumor is that Drake's father walked away when Drake was 5. So the Adonis are around that same age, something there. But I think this is so interesting because I do feel like this is one of those parts of the song where will the public, rewrite history here? Because I'm sure Kendrick has tons of fans who don't know their fathers.
I agree.
And how are they going to feel about Kendrick getting that Drake for that when that's a huge problem in the Black community? And so how will that be? Will that be kind of regarded here? Now, I don't think it will be a problem, because I think that when it comes to music, especially hip hop, we turn a blind eye to that. No, we haven't heard Future rap about his kids once.
Facts.
And
the multitude of them,
and they keep popping up, and no one has a problem with that. We complain about Drake not being political enough and social enough, but we never say, why is Future doing all these drugs? Where his kids at?
Yeah.
And so I think that, I don't know if that's intentional from Kendrick, but I think in a normal situation where everyone would say, hey, hold on, I'm not cool with my pops. That's not right for you to make fun of him because of that. In hip hop, that has not been the temperature. That has not been the case. And so him making fun of Drake and his dad, or lack thereof, I think it's gonna fly here.
Yeah, me too. Another thing that I mentioned, and I want to bring this up because, as usual, I am right. Where he said, somebody told me you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a comedian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. I told you. I told you that shit was distasteful, and I told you that they were gonna end up suing Drake over that AI shit. And he got the cease and desist for the AI shit, and now I thought it was obvious personally, as a person who loves hip hop and was actually a big fan of Tupac. Listened to a lot of Tupac when I was a teenager for whatever reason. I knew Kendrick Lamar was gonna say something about the Tupac shit because Drake buying one of Tupac's rings. Drake is obviously a fan of hip hop, right? He's had, memorabilia from many different people. But that AI thing was like to turn a West Coast legend, a hip hop black, like just like a legend, right? And to make him like almost into a joke in that sense must have been driving Kendrick Lamar insane. Like it must have been just like, like actually been one of the craziest things to him. So I like that he brought up the idea that it's like him versus AI. I don't know if I'm battling ghosts or AI or what. I like that he was able to pull that in and like reverse it. And Drake can't even fully, the video's not even up. Like the Instagram reel's not even up anymore. So you can't even, try to spin it in any other way like that. And also I bet you Drake is not dropping another AI song.
No. Yeah. I think he learned his lesson.
Yeah, so I think that was a cool element to me. And that was earlier on. So yeah, man, I think that this was a genuine roasting of Drake. There is obviously we've only covered so much. There's 3 parts to this track. How did you like the song construction overall? We haven't really talked about that.
I thought it was good. I thought it actually helped on the first listen. Having all those beat switches, having those different voices, those different flows. So I think it helped. I think this is something everyone's gonna run to and listen right away. Yeah. And that first listen, you kind of are engaged in a different way that you wouldn't be if you
the first part was like, is he just gonna do like a spoken word? Are we getting like an Andre 3000 type of deal? Until it got much heavier. So where are you ranking this in the beefs? In the beef. So we have first person shooter. We have Like That. Then we have push-ups. If you want to include tailor-made freestyle,
of course you got it.
And then we have this track right here, what is its official name? Euphoria. Right. Also, Kendrick Lamar did it. I know for a fact he did it on purpose. Euphoria, obviously, Drake is the EP. Yeah. On that TV show. Where let's say there are teenage people doing illicit activities in that TV show. Yeah. And I know for a fact Kendrick Lamar did that shit on purpose.
Well, I said this at the top. This is part of why I like the cover a lot is in the definition of Euphoria that's on the cover, it talks about reduce anxiety that prompts people to start using this dangerous drug, talking about the show and the rumors that Drake has a lot of drug use. But the part to me that is the best part of him calling Euphoria and using this cover is using it in a sentence, and it said they had almost a week to recover from the euphoria of Tuesday's series-winning victory. So he's doing his thing.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that. So where are we putting, like, let's rank them. From, again, first-person shooter. Then we had Like That. Then we had push-ups. Then we had tailor-made freestyle. And now Euphoria.
Are we ranking them as songs or like as a diss?
In the beef. Which is the best songs?
The best song is Like That.
Okay.
This is the best diss.
Okay.
So
Kendrick's up then.
Yeah, that's what I said.
If we're gonna say that, Kendrick has to be up.
No, Kendrick is up for sure. I think this is kind of like a debate. Anyone who's part of the debate team in high school, this one's for you. Is like the first round of the debate is seeing what the other person's debate is even going to be.
Right.
And that's what this is here. Is okay, we see what you're trying to argue here. Now we can move forward. So I think Kendrick is up. I am very excited to see how Drake responds. I think there's a lot of stuff here for Drake to respond to and a lot of stuff for him to not respond to as well. But I'm interested to see how Drake responds because I think this is probably the most pressure Drake has been under in his career. If you're talking about one particular time. Story of Adidon, of course, was another one. But I think even Story of Adidon, he replied on Instagram before he even replied in a track.
Yeah.
And to this day, no track.
Yeah.
So this is probably the most pressure Drake has ever been under. I'm excited to see how he does.
Wait, you didn't even give me the rankings.
Oh, you want a real ranking?
Yeah.
Okay, so best diss or best track?
Let's go with best diss, I guess.
Best diss? Okay, this would be number 1.
Okay.
Then
Euphoria.
I would say Push Ups.
Okay.
Then I would say Tailor Made. And then I would say Like That. And then I would say First Person Shooter. I guess they're in order of that's how they came out. Yeah. I think everyone who drops next is
making
up in
a
the
better
ante.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I would say number 1 is probably this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Push Ups. I don't rate Tailor Made Freestyle at all. So that's at the bottom for me.
Okay.
And then I think it's Like That and then First Person Shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that this is great. I think its only drawback is its replayability.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're not going to be hearing this in the club. And Like That, you will hear it in the club though. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that that's its only issue, but he came at Drake sexuality. Came at Drake for his ability to father a child.
Yep.
Came at Drake for his abs. We didn't even talk about the abs line.
Yep.
Right? Like his actual physical body.
Mm-hmm. Saying Drake doesn't have a classic.
Yeah, Drake doesn't have a classic. So he kind of came for him in every sphere. You know what I mean? I don't think that wasn't telling lies. You know, he wasn't. I guess the classic thing. Just as a music enjoyer, say that's incorrect.
Yeah, it's not true. But and I that's why I think this is such a good shot, because it was direct enough where we're like, okay, Kendrick's ready to play, but it wasn't all heat.
Yeah,
I think it was more we're just happy you're in the game. Like,
yeah.
So I think there's something here, because I do think there's a lot that Kendrick said that is debatable and disputable, and Kendrick Lamar, that's not something that he's been accustomed to. Everything he says is law for the most part. So
you keep saying that, man. I think you're...
Have you listened to this podcast?
Yeah, I just think that the way you perceive Kendrick Lamar is like, you think other people are like, he is, you know, like the second coming of Jesus Christ. When it's just people just revere him because he is actually that good. You don't perceive him to being that good, but most people do.
I do, but
I don't think you do.
No, Kendrick Lamar's taking so much of my money. I definitely think he's that good, but I think that we kind of add different things, characteristics to what make Kendrick Lamar good, and how we measure certain things. Which I think we don't need to do that. He's good enough. We don't need to do that. We don't need to give him credit for taking time off. Like, he's just good. Take time off or don't.
Right.
He's good. We don't need to give him credit for he takes so much time off because his albums are so good and it's so worth it. We don't have to do that. The album is good whenever we get it. And that is what I mean of where we're trying to finding ways to like him more. It's like, he's great already. We don't have to, add in these things to boost up his ego.
I don't think it's an add-on. I think that's just genuine feelings. People genuinely feel that. It's not an add-on. It's not an extra sprinkle. It's not, there's elements of...
Yeah, Chris, our producer, doing a sprinkle
not,
in the background.
It's not. You guys are just thinking that because you guys don't rate that. You don't think that that's like interesting or important or anything. People do think that.
I think this is where we disagree, because I actually think he's that. So I think that you guys don't get that you're sprinkling it because you've been just socialized for the past 10 years to do that with Kendrick, where it's part of being a Kendrick fan. Like, part of being a Kendrick fan is highlighting these things and saying he is these things. It's like, I've seen Kendrick live 3 times. Like, I don't need to sprinkle in, oh, he did this. No, he's great. He's just great. And it's funny because it reminds me of the Russ fans when they got annoying and they would say, but he produces and engineers all the stuff. It's like, if the song's trash, song's trash. I don't care if he engineers it or produces it. If a song trash, as good as good. Kendrick is kind of like that, where we sprinkle all these different things about him that make him so pure and a real artist. It's like, is music good or not? That's really all that matters. And so, to me, I think we're going to get in a place now where this battle will become almost level in that way, where it's not a matter of, I'm smart and I know hip-hop because I like Kendrick Lamar. It's like, no, let them rap. If it's good, it's good. If not, it's not. And we'll be real about it. And today, it's only been 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. The internet has impressed me. and I'm seeing people, love certain bars just because they love them and not like certain bars with their chest, which, in the past was not a thing. So I'm actually happy to see how this is changing hip hop as a whole. I think that, allegiances are changing, fandoms are changing, but how this is growing hip hop as a whole, I'm very, very here for it.
Right. I think that it's good for hip hop. I think that what Drake said, or not Drake, what Kendrick Lamar said, like there's only what Drake did with the AI thing was a little problematic.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's more problematic on a grand scheme, honestly.
Yeah.
Versus what Drake or what Kendrick Lamar said about the sexuality thing, slightly problematic. It's a little problematic, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in a rap beef right now where anything can go, really. And I think that the biracial, the black enough thing is slightly problematic
too,
as well. But hey man, it is what it is. That's what happens when two people really hate each other. Kendrick Lamar legitimately said he hates Drake. Well, he hates Drake for who he is as a person. He likes his music though.
Yeah.
So So when people like actually hate each other, they hate the person, the way they walk, the way they speak. You send that on the track.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand. I don't 100% agree, but I understand where things are coming from. So I want to thank everybody. Unless you have something else to say.
I just want to know what everyone thinks in the comments. Like, where are we with that?
I want to hear, do people think Kendrick Lamar's bars are too problematic? And I also want to hear, who's winning the beef? Who is winning?
Who's up right now?
Who's winning? And are there going to be another couple responses?
Yes. That's an obvious yes.
Okay. So I think Drake is going to probably respond soon just because that's like that's just like what he likes to do. He likes to respond quickly.
Before we got to here, we got some people in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Over under, and if Demar wears the oven mitts for the entire stream. I think we've seen that already. He mostly did.
Yeah.
So like over on that. And then Beware Sound says, it's like they just hate that he's light skinned and Canadian. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I think like that's part of what I'm so interested to see how that goes is like, are you allowed to just hate something like that so openly? Is that going to fly? Like just hating someone for being light-skinned and Canadian? There's a group that does that with their whole chest in real life.
Exactly.
But the internet is a different place and the internet remains undefeated. So I'm interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, and I also, I'm telling you, that is why he wanted to de-escalate the Kanye thing. I'm telling you. Because Drake, as a biracial Canadian Jewish person, does not want to invite Kanye into the beef.
I think Kendrick more doesn't want to invite Kanye. I think Kendrick is making some of those same points and leaving Drake being Jewish out of it.
Yeah.
And I think the same stuff Kendrick is saying on this song coming out of Kanye's mouth sounds crazier.
Yeah, it does.
But Kendrick saying Drake don't say nigga anymore, it's Kendrick. So we're like, I guess that's acceptable.
Yeah, it's more of like he's making fun of him. Whereas like Kanye, if you said that, it's like a genuine personal attack.
Kendrick's a personal attack too, and so I think like that's a part of like Kendrick can say it in a tone with the adage of being Kendrick, where we are. He's Kendrick. He's a good guy. He means well. Yeah. He's for the blacks. When if Kanye says it, it's just a whole different thing.
Yeah,
so
tons of context.
I think you're right, and Drake trying to talk, but I think they both were like, please get him out of here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you everybody for tuning into Album Mode, the Soundbites Album Mode Live. Where we're talking about the music, the culture, and the internet, and how those three things intertwine to create the music culture that we have today. Today, it's beef. That's what happens.
Stew.
That's when all those things intertwine. We got beef today. In the next week, we'll see what happens. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is Demar Grant, a.k.a. King Grant. I got my producer to my left of me, and I got my co-host, co-creator in front of me, Adriel Smiley. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on the interwebs, on social. At Album Mode Pod on Twitter, Album Mode Pod on Instagram, Album Mode Pod on TikTok. We're at Album Mode on YouTube. We got that. Okay? So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And Adriel, make sure you know yourself and know your worth.
Later days.